I wanted to briefly touch upon this subject. There's some misinformation going around about the various political parties, namely between the Democrats and the Republicans. Looking at this picture, you can see that obviously the Republicans stood for freedom of all men and the equality of all men. So the Republicans were for black people, and black people were 100% Republican up until Martin Luther King. And I already went into that on my Martin Luther King videos, various numbers of my videos going into Martin Luther King. Now, what happened? There is this misinformation saying that the political parties switched. And of course, that is a complete lie. The only thing that happened was that the neocons switched. That is, the Democratic Party was so large and the Republican Party was so tiny that the Democratic Party, wanting to completely and utterly control all political fare in the U.S., a portion of them broke off and joined, quote unquote, the Republican Party. They didn't actually join, they simply registered Republican and ran as Republican. And we call those the neoconservatives. Or we now call them the establishment Republicans. Why? Because the Democratic Party, as much as they want to always talk about Republicans being for rich people, the Democratic Party are the ones that control the purse strings of the entire nation because they're so gigantic. Even with a portion of them breaking off and registering as Republican, they still control a majority of the money in the United States. And that includes campaign donations and what have you. So these neoconservatives then took over the Republican Party. There was never Republicans going to the Democrats. So now, if you have policies coming out of Washington that seem racist to you or white supremacist to you, those are from the neocons. And this has been a 100-year plan all along. The United States was never intended to be a quote-unquote white country. The whole notion of melting pot was what the United States always was. Not everybody who came to the United States, even from quote-unquote Europe, was even considered white. There are plenty of people who came from the southern regions of Europe who, first of all, weren't white, and if you want to even be technical about it, a lot of them were half African to begin with, especially in Sicily. The United States was never intended to be a white country. It never was. David Duke and his idiocy aside, right? So this misinformation that the parties switched and that Republicans are now racist is a bald-faced lie. The Democrats broke off a portion of their candidates, went and registered Republican, and then controlled the entire government so that they could continue with their white supremacist agenda. The Republicans didn't die off. They didn't all of a sudden become racist. Those are Democrats who have registered Republican. And that was always an agenda, always. As soon as the Republican Party came into existence, they couldn't have it. They were shocked that the Republicans were able to even get control of the White House the way that they did. Because even still, a lot of the times the Republicans did not actually win a majority of the vote. It's just that the votes that they got were the most electoral votes that they could muster. You know, they beat the Democrats at their own game. The Democrats have been sinister, evil, racist from the beginning of the country. Anybody saying that the Democrats are anything other than that is just a fool in every sense of the word. First, you must study the history of the party before you go on these tirades talking about something that you don't even know about. A neocon doesn't mean that the person is a Republican. It means that the person is a Democrat registered as a Republican. And they have now become establishment Republican. And they always talk about the Koch brothers, the Koch brothers, the Koch brothers. The Koch brothers donate to both parties. In fact, the Koch brothers, as far as Republican donations, campaign contributions are concerned, come in at a whopping number 10. That means 9 other people or 9 other entities donate more money and contribute more money to the Republican campaigns and the Republican Party than the Koch brothers. The Koch brothers also donate to the Democratic Party. Why doesn't the mainstream media report this? I put that question to you. Why don't they? Why don't they report that the Koch brothers donate to the Democratic campaign? And how are they in number 10 spot in the Republican? What spot are they in the Democratic donation pile?